Okay, guys. Our second session, we will continue with a couple of more transformations. I was trying to tell you how to make use of merge transformation, and now we actually come to a very important transformation called merge. This is a sorry map operation, which is a very important transformation, and you will be using it rigorously in data warehousing or data conversion, data migration everywhere. The importance of it is very prominent. The reason being the input record, whatever the kind it could be, map operation can actually make an insert record as an update and as an update as an insert. It can change the relevancy of the record. You know, if we take our own story, the hero's home, when you wanted to do a certain operation like this, what it means by using a map operation is when you have new visitors, you wanted to still not expand the resources of your home because they are kind of a temporary, or you want to treat them different. You say go into the same room, share the same room for everything. It is similar, the map operation. You are not going to create a separate place for that. Instead you say, okay, though the record comes as insert, make it as an update. Though the record comes as an update, make it as an insert. Someone who comes as a guest stays there forever, or someone who is actually your family member leaves you sooner. It's that kind of a scenario here in the map operation. So let us try to make use of one of the data flows which we have built in the earlier class, because that is more relevant for the map operation to happen. So I'm going back to my transforms which I have built here, and I wanted to make use of the customer bin2. Anyhow, I'm going to leave this here and create a new job. But this type 2 transformation I wanted to make use, and the same thing can be used as part of map, or I can build a new map transformation. But I'm going to replicate this, just use that to make it easy for me not to create everything again. So I would rename it relevantly, and this is one of the very important and very good transformations. So I go back to the original job which we were working today, and as per the request I wanted to replicate this job and do a new job, right? So I would replicate. Some of the transformations which I am showing are useful very much, guys, and so I am trying to spend this much of time, or else I would have skipped and went away to the next part easily. But these are very important transforms, and you would blame me if I don't show you the usage of it and where to use and so on. I'm struggling to give some examples and get that done. EW underscore 005 map. So in this, whatever I have replicated, I'm going to get the same. If you recollect, we were using the map operation. I have the table comparison, I have the history preserving, and I have the customer type to dimension here. Let us say in the similar example, there is a scenario here. Let me give you a scenario where I wanted to use a map operation. Here I am preserving it as a history, and I am end dating it. I am end dating it, saying this particular. Let us look at the data so that you are very clear about what I am trying to do. In this, if you see, when there is a change in the address, we try to accommodate both of them, saying this is his old address and this is his current address. There is going to be few scenarios where you'll have two addresses: your first home, your second home. Maybe you have two wives. Maybe you are a traveler. You have two places: a vacation spot in Kodaikanal and a vacation spot in Kashmir. You keep traveling there often. In that cases, you'll have two addresses actually. At that time, though it is a new, when there is an address change, you don't want it to update the existing address with a date. You want it to maintain both the address as yourself. I mean, this is a relevancy when there comes up a customer. You want it to maintain his earlier status even as the current date, and also the current address as the current date. Say scenario like that. So in that, I still use the table compare. I will remove the history preserve. The table compare is going to give a record as an insert and an update. Let us first see that. Okay, before I remove, I will have to actually show this. Let me not change the topic, but let this job be here like this. But what I wanted to show you is the importance. Last time that did not work for us. The profiling or the debugging did not work. So I'm starting in the debug mode. We are going to look at the type to transform and take the same type to transform as an example, tweak it a little bit to the so that we can use the same thing for the map operation. So I'm running the earlier job, whichever we have created last week, and I'm going to show you something important. So the job should finish like in 1 minute, not more than that. So why I reran the job is because now the profiler or even the debugger is working for me. So I wanted to show you something important what I couldn't show you last time. So in the type 2, let us look at the data closely. At first, when we have the data here, you see there are 13 records. After it passed the history preserving transform, table compare transform, you have only one record, and the important thing I want you to notice is the left hand side there is something called I. Do you see an I here where I pass the pointer? I is for insert. Okay, here guys. And then after the same record passes the history preserving, what are you seeing? Still it is an I, because this is a new record which we inserted today. We are going to test the same record for the type 2 transform in other 2 minutes. But you see what is happening here is you have to notice it. The record is marked as insert here. Even it passed table compare, it passed history preserving, it is the same. Now I am going to rerun the same job and show you something interesting. So I have to go back to the ODS customer and make a small update for me to show you that, so that I will also cover map operation really easy for you, because it is all dependent. I will have to show you that. In the ODS schema, I go to my ODS customer, edit table data, and I'm not going to insert anything new. I wanted to insert some address for this guy, which is 7321 Shelter Creek, and the city is San Bruno. The region ID, I don't know the region ID, I'll put it 3. The zip code I know. So this is the update that has happened to this particular record. So I have successfully stored it. Now I am trying to rerun this job, because this job is a nightly job. It runs every day. It loads my customer dimension every day. But I don't want to load everything. I wanted to load only that particular record which got changed. So I'm rerunning the same job. You will see the relevancy of it now. It will generate an insert and an update statement after it passed the history preserving. Oh, did I run it in the debug mode or not? I doubt if I ran it in debug mode. Ah, I did not run it in the debug mode. We'll have to repeat the task. Before we repeat the task, let me show you. There would have happened. I mean, the data would have reflected what I wanted to do, but I cannot show you what has happened using my interactive debugger. The data would have got updated. There is no doubt about it. You see here, these are the 2 records. It got updated, but it doesn't make any relevance for me now. I wanted to revert this data back and then redo it. Or else the easiest thing is, let us take a new record here. And next time if I run it without debug mode, give a slap and let me know, guys. So I'm going to edit this data here and say dem2. This is a very relevant example, and you wanted to see this, guys. You wanted to visualize this, so that last time when I tried to show you, I know it would have even confused you, and I wanted to actually show it even in a better way so that it is easy for you. So I will not fill up the rest of the items, let them be there. I'm going to just say apply. So it is applied. Now if I run the job, first time I will have to see the dim2 customer which I inserted, which I created will get inserted, because that is only the new customer I have. So I'm not using the debug mode even. Let it run. I will show you the difference, and next time when I make the change, I will run it in the debug mode and you'll see it. So I have to go and see my target if the dem2, which is the new record I inserted, is got in here or not. So here is the new record. So it currently says dem2 CA technology 4245 shelter, but the remaining address is missing, right? Now we are going to make a change. I'm going to make a change here saying 4245 and San Bruno, and then region code is 4 maybe, like this, and then update it. So in the source the address is changed now. I'm just making it as if so it is really changed, but it did not really change. I added only a city and a region code and a zip code. Now I run it in the debug mode. You will see why am I trying to show you this. It is very important. So I right click, make sure that I'm running it in a debug mode and say OK. Now you will see that, guys, how the the table compare what it is doing and what it is trying to generate, and also what history preserving is doing, and we'll also see what map operation could do after we finish this. If I say no and go back to my type 2 dimension, so here if you see from source there are 14 records got extracted, and after the table comparison I have only one record which you see as U. That is the important thing I want you to notice, guys. Earlier when I inserted it was as I. Now the record is updated, so the table comparison is generating it as an U, which means update, and the history preserving it will do it as two records. You see an U and an I, so it will end date the previous record. I mean here though end date is wrong, because we are doing an end date of today minus 1, so it has end dated like this because the start date was also today, right? Because I inserted this record today. But in the real time scenario, history and delta, the start date will be always different when you have a new record or when there is an update. But as a matter, I did not really update it. But the relevancy is here on the left hand side. You see the U and I. So the same record will be inserted and updated, and their start date and end date, and also the current indicator will be updated. That is other important thing. You see the current indicator is 0 and a 1. So that is about the history preserving transform and the table compare transform. Now we will introduce a map transform into it and see what will happen. So here I stop the debugger. I go back to my original job which I was building, and in that I wanted to show you this. So in here I have left it without inserting a map operation here, but I wanted to now insert the map operation and show you what is going to happen. So this table compare I'm connecting to this, and the map operation is being connected just before the target. So what all map operation can do, let us go and see. A map operation, it can treat normal record as normal, update record as update, insert record as insert, and delete record as delete. Is this a map operation what it does? No. The input row, though it is a normal record, it can treat it as an update or insert or delete or discard. It has all these options. So the same record can be treated in more than one way. If the input record is an update even, it can treat them in a different way. Each insert record, each update record can be treated as insert. It will insert a new record for it. That is the example I am going to show you. As I told you, I am married, I have an address. And I am married one more time. Both are relevant address. I wanted to keep both the address. And so my first wife and second wife get the same saree which I ordered. That's fine. That's just about an example. So we are going to use the map operation and get that working. So now I have this completed. I want it to do only one thing. Now the dem2, which is already been ran, and you have an insert and update which has happened and the data is there. Now I want the latest record. When it gets an update, I want it to insert it. I don't want it to update the previous record. The simple thing I'm going to do is, when I get an update, I want it to insert. I'm changing this. And I'm saying normal records, discard them. Insert records, I want it to still insert. So keep it there. Delete records, I want to discard them because there are no deletes. We'll come to deletes a little later. So now you see, guys, I validate this. I'm going to redo and reshow what I'm trying to do. But now what we'll have to do is, we have to go back in the source. The same dem2, this guy has one more address, but he updated it in the source. We are going to update him, but in the target you will see both the addresses getting there. So why I cannot create one more dem2 is, there is a primary key on the source table, so I cannot actually create one more, but the relevancy is here. So simply this particular address is changed. I have started my second family in somewhere in Fremont, let us say 36775 Fremont Boulevard and Fremont. This is the update that has happened, change or a twist in my life. So I'm going to update my bank address and everything is updated now, and you have the new address. Now if we run this job, you'll see what will happen. So I'm going to run the job, which is a new job which we created. Here I think it is more relevant if I rename it as custodian itself, because it is job 5, it is not going to hurt anything. So I'm going to run this in as a debug mode. You'll see what will happen. I wanted you to really closely monitor, because these are the transformations which confuse everyone a little bit, but then when you understand the actual the essence under it or the meaning under it, you'll be able to really use them, practically use them. If you see, the extraction has happened for 14 records. Let me move this here. How to do this? Let me click in here. Okay. If you see, the extraction has happened for 14 records, and after the table compare, you have only one record which is update. You see here U, and then I have passed that into a map operation and see what has happened. The U has become I. It is going to insert, it is not going to update. So in the target, what you will see is there is a new record. Though it was an update in the source, you are making it as an insert in the target. That is what is the relevant thing which I want you to notice. See here. Do you notice, guys? Yeah, sure, I will show it, but I wanted you to first understand this is what the function does first, and then I will re-show you whatever I did. So if you see now, the current indicator for both of them is 0. They have the same start date and end date, and there are two different addresses for the same customer. I mean, though business meaning, they are going to actually insert one more. It is not the relevant example. Whatever I have shown, told you is for fun, that the hero has now two families. Instead, let us say it is a mailing address, other is a billing address. It always happens, right? You mail to somewhere else, or you ship it to somewhere else, and you bill it to somewhere else. So these are both the address, and they are going to insert one more field saying billing or shipping. So there will be a relevant field added to it, so that if the same customer has two addresses, this is how we maintain it. So when there is a change in the source address to a billing, I don't want it to override it. Instead, I want it to insert one more record. This is how I do it. So these two are now current. He has this technology. This person has one in Fremont, one in Shelter Creek, one in Fremont, one in San Bruno. So now I'm going to go back and show you what I did here. While in the debug mode itself, I'm saying discard the normal records. because I don't want anything, I mean nothing will come out of the table compare as a normal record. It will come as an insert or it will come as an update. So what I asked my map transform to do is, I asked it to make the update, which is the input row, as an insert, and if there is a new record which is an insert, still it will treat it as an insert. And the deletes, I am saying it to discard because there are no deletes here. But in other example, we are going to see that it can also delete the records. If you want the incoming record and mark it as deleted, it can also do that. But what here I am trying to show you is it can treat the updated record as insert. That is the reason the table compare, though it passed as an update, it did not update. It finally changed it to insert. And the result is it inserted a record here, but it did not update. So why I try to use a table compare inside is so that you know that map operation can do this. Even without table compare, you can achieve the same thing in a different way. So this is the record, it got affected and it inserted it. You can use map operation for more than one functionalities. You can say always treat the normal record as an update. It can do that. You can say if there is an insert record but update it, yes, it can do that. If there is an insert record, treat it as an insert or update or delete it, it can do that. Let us say in the same thing, I wanted to take a different example. Next time when the records come in, they come as an update, I'm going to delete them. You'll see that. So I'm saying stop debug. Now, whatever the changes I'm going to make in the source, I actually wanted to nullify these records, let us say. I wanted to nullify them saying I had made an irrelevant transaction, guys. It is simply you go to JCPenney, you buy something. But immediately you say, no, I don't want it. There is a different product I want to buy. Can you cancel this transaction? The same cancellation can be done even in the data warehouse. So it inserts a record first, and then when the transaction is cancelled, it will come and nullify it. The same thing I'm going to generate. It is generally a relevant example in the transactional table or the fact table. I'm doing it in the dimensional table because we will have only a small volume of data and it is easy for us. Now I'm going to say I have accidentally inserted this record. I wanted to delete it. How do I want it to delete it? I will show you a way. Here let me make a small update. It can be date or it can be zip code or something. There was a mistake. Let us say zip code itself 49495 or 49959, something like that. Just making throwing the ball there as an example. So this is the new record which will come as an update. Or I can also make one more record so that it is helpful for you to understand it because this is very important. Dem3. The insert record will not get affected, but the update record will get deleted. I will show you that. CA something XXX Y. Okay, I have two things here. I did an insert. I also did an update. Run the same game again without any changes. We'll see what will happen. Here I'm saying insert as an insert here. But I'm now going to say insert update as a delete. We will see how it will delete the record. So let me run the same game. Only thing I changed is treat the updated record as a delete. Let us see what is it going to do. I'm executing in the debug mode so that you will see what is happening inside data services. That's where the debugger will help us a lot. Last week it was not working, but this week, yes, it is working. So now we'll go and see what is happening in the data flow. So you have one update, one insert, right? You see dem2 has an update, whereas dem3 is an insert. And we pass that into map operation. You see here, This is marked as a D and this is marked as I. So this particular record is by mistake got inserted. Now I want it to delete it. Will it delete it? Yes, it can. If you go to the target finally, you currently see DIM3 price, right? But it is going to delete one of them, or it can even delete three of them. The reason being it is the same DEM2 there. Why did not it delete now? I will have to exit from the debug mode. For me, my expectation is it is going to delete all those three records because the input key is dem2. Let me show you the input key so that you will not get confused. Why is this three records being deleted? The input key here is customer ID, which is dem2, and in the target, if we say use input keys, then it is going to delete all of them. Use input keys is marked as no, but then let us see if it deletes that or something else, or am I wrong, or let me stop debug so that it gets committed. Unless you stop this debug mode, it will not commit the data into database. So now it got committed. Let me go and see in the target. I have 20 records. That is what is important. It will mark them to a soft delete. Where is my dem2? These are the records, but it did not do anything. It just kept them in the same way because it cannot perform a delete operation. All it will do is it can keep them separate. Did we change the dem2? Shelter Creek. What did I change? I changed the zip code finally. So where is the zip code here? I made it a different zip code, right? Yeah. See, it did not delete it. The reason why it could not delete is we'll have to make a small change here. Use the input keys is one of the changes I will have to do it so that it goes there and it can still delete any record that comes as an update. Update will be marked as deleted, and so that it will go into the target and delete that particular record. But to me, I think that record was not existing in the target, so it couldn't delete. But map operation, the essence is it can do all these operations. Now, while telling about it, I'll have to show one important thing. I was using a history preserve transform, and I wanted to show you a small important thing which is marked down there, so that it exactly matches to the same point which I'm telling. Though you wanted to do a delete, but still you wanted to preserve the record saying this particular record is deleted. There is a way in the history preserving transform you can achieve it. You see, preserve delete row as update row. This is one of the options you can use. Certainly, it will preserve the delete row. I mean, you wanted to mark some record for deletion, but you don't want it to physically delete it. So it will mark it as an update. Though it is a delete, it can always mark as an update and keep it there so that you will not lose the transaction. That is the purpose of this preserve delete row as update row. But anyhow guys, because this is all too much of information and you haven't worked on any of these transforms, you will be in confusion. What I'm going to tell you is, I'm trying to only show you how to use these transformations. But once you start using, you'll understand the relevancy, you'll understand the real-time way of using it. But just not to skip it, do you have any major confusion, or are you okay with whatever I showed? If you have any questions, yes, go for it. But this is all map operation can do. It can treat a record, though it is an insert record, it can update it, it can delete it, it can discard it. If there comes an update, you don't want it to insert it, it can discard it. That is all possible with this transform. Any question on here, guys? Is it okay, or you feel it very confusing? Because you'll have to uh, use these transforms in a real manner. Only then you can understand what all they are doing. You have to go do some homework, play with it, and then come back. Then we will go over it if at all there is any confusion. But at this point, even certainly, if you have some question, go for it. Silence means I assume that there are no questions and I proceed forward. So the next example I wanted to give, I told you I will show you the generation of surrogate ID. Let me show you a very relevant example. Now we are at the right point. Let us look at the target type 2 dimension here. Can someone make a judgment out of it? Here you have dim2, you have three dem2s as your customer ID. But if you wanted to see after an year, there can be like dem2s of 10 or 20, and database wise it is going to perform poor. And you want a surrogate key, just as a matter of fact, you want an index. An index can be generated if you put a surrogate key there. So to get the surrogate key, I'm going to redo the same thing, but I will show you how you can generate a surrogate key using the key generation transform. So it is a very simple thing here. It will try to look up on the target and then generate the new key for it. So to achieve that, I will have to again replicate this particular job and then create one more job so that you will understand what I tried to do. I'm leaving this as map operation in the same way. Let it be here. I will give you this job. You can try yourself and come back to me if you have any questions. So I'm proceeding forward with the next job, which I wanted to show as a surrogate ID. So I think I have made one of them as surrogate ID data flow. Let me see if I have that. I remember I have built one of the data flow saying it is a surrogate ID. Yeah, I wanted to use this same thing. So in here, what I'm going to do is use the same type 2 transform, or the uh, type 2 mapping which I have built, and get the surrogate ID here. I will show you today one interesting thing is you need not only replicate, you can do copy paste in data services. That is allowed. So how am I going to copy paste? The simplest thing, see here, I just go here, say Control A, Control C. You can paste the same thing anywhere you want. That is also permitted. So it is more like the copy paste in Windows, and this is only the functionality which is recently been introduced after data services came into. In data integrator, you do have the functionality, but you'll have to do a cut paste, not a copy paste. And it cannot also get these connections between them. It used to get only this particular objects or transformations or source table and target table which you have. A data services does allow you to get this really easy. After getting this job, I don't want it to use this. Instead, I wanted to build a new customer dimension table with a surrogate. Custom type 2 sur id. Okay. History preserving, let it stay as it is. I'm not going to disturb anything. Let them be as it is. All I wanted to do is use a key generation transform so that I give them a key value, an indexing value, so that they perform better when we have too much of data and we have a type 2 transform. We always wanted to have a indexing key there. If you remember when I tried to show you type 2 slowly changing dimensions, let me go back there. I know a lot of people would have got confused what I'm trying to do here. So let me go back. There was a demonstration on on type 2 slowly changing dimension. Let me show that, and then it makes relevant for me to put an surrogate ID here. I think it was with the data warehouse toolkit, or I don't remember which one it was. I think it was with the case study, but I don't know if I have the case study here or not. Let me see if I have it. It's a very quick thing for me to show you. But it is going to be the same kind of data, guys. If you remember, in the past I tried to show you a supplier data wherein I have two suppliers, just the area code is changed, and there comes one more insert which is my slowly changing dimension. And to identify it uniquely, I told like we will have to use a surrogate ID. Surrogate ID, there is more than one purpose of using it, but one of the purposes is to make use of it when you go for a type 2 dimension. This is not the presentation where I had that. It is the retail sales demo which I gave. It should be one of these. No? Not this is not this is not the one. I don't actually remember if I have put it somewhere else. I have everything but not that. Hmm. I do have the USB. I think it should be at least in the USB. Why am I struggling to show you that is, you have to understand the type 2 slowly changing dimensions. Only then you can understand what I am going to do now using the surrogate key. It is the same example, whatever I am showing here, the dem2, dem1, but I wanted to also show you more relevantly, and so I'm struggling to find that particular example. I think I have that even in my USB, so let me quickly get it out from there. Okay, so here it should be training related, or this batch day 1 and 2. I think this is the one. Yeah, yeah. In the retail case study, this is the one actually. If I just go directly into the type 2 slowly changing dimension, you see here. Okay, in this type 1, I was showing you that we are going to override and update it. Whereas type 2, I was showing you the example here. You see, this is type 1. I have supplier key 123, supplier code ABC, and supplier company and the supplier state. Now I have the same supplier, but the supplier key is 124. How did I achieve this? Because the supplier code here in the data we are seeing the customer code was the same, dem1, dem2, the same dem2 is being created thrice. But here, as you have the supplier key, this is the surrogate ID I am trying to generate. So how to generate that particular surrogate ID, I am trying to show you here by using a key generation transform. That's all I am trying to do. So let me go into transforms and pull out the key generation. I can make the key generation by itself as a source, or I can use that in between. So I pass this data. So in here, what I'll have to do is I will say a new column actually. Okay, why is it not giving me an option here? Okay, I will have to make it just before it enters into customer key. So that's the reason, because I cannot create a new column here. I can create in the query. So here I know that I'm going to maintain this in a type 2 way. So new output column, insert above. I will say CUSP surr id, which means this is a surrogate id. When it gets into the key generation, what you can do for key generation surrogate id is you're going to give the table which is the target table, which I, oh, the one problem now I will have is I have to create the table. Okay, let me use this just as to keep the ball rolling. So I'm saying increment the value by 1, but I don't have that column here, right? The customer surrogate ID. So let me pitch back one minute, and we will come back and then do it, because I cannot do this particular operation by directly using a target as uh, a template table. First I will have to create the template table in such a way and then come back, make the changes whatever I want. So give me one other moment. We will manually do it. I'm not going to do the automated way because it will take a lot of time. So in the target, I will go to the customer dim and say I can always get the create statement. Oh, this is ODS underscore customer dim. Why did it give me ODS underscore customer dim? I'm asking for customer underscore dim. Something wrong. Let me try one more time. Okay, now it gave me perfectly. So in here, all I'm trying to do is put one more column because I have to have the column to get that working, right? So in this customer dim, I wanted to insert a column here in the same way as I see here. So all I do is copy this. Here all I'm trying to do is make it as surrogate ID, and surrogate ID in general is always an integer. I make it integer. Default is null, that is fine. I can give it as null, so let that be there. And here I wanted to create it as surr ID. Here I have a double underscore. Let me take it off and I run this. So that it creates me a new table. Instead of using a template table, I'm going to get that table and use it. That's all I'm trying to do. Because template table, I will have to run it twice, for the first time to get it created and second time to go and make use of it. So I'm using this way. So import table by name, which we have created now, cust underscore dim underscore surrid. I think it should pick it up. Yes. So this one I wanted to use, make target. In the key generation, I have to use the same thing because that is where I wanted to generate the surrogate ID. So I'm going to get that table, and here now I will have surrogate ID column, and I'm saying increment value by 1. Okay. So now I validate it. And now if I run this job, it will create, my assumption is it has to create. If not, we'll come back and fix it. Don't worry much about that. But let me go back and see where this job is. Okay, it is just a data flow. So I will have to put it into a job to make it work because I started from a data flow. So I'm going to call it inside the job 5 just to keep it side to side here. So I'm going to run it now in a debug mode so that we will see what is happening inside. If I did it right way, it should generate with a, it failed, no surprise. So empty name, which is, okay, please check the syntax, empty name. query extract empty name. Okay, it is throwing me some kind of a problem here. So let me see what it is. I should have did somewhere. I have to first give it a value so that it starts generating from there. But just let me make sure if something went wrong. Empty name. Mm, oh, I did not validate it. That is first thing I'll have to do every time when I do that. So see here, there is some problem, and that's the reason it failed. So I did not validate it before I do anything. So I'll have to put some value there. That is fine. The second thing is, okay, there is no equal column for that. That is the other problem. So first thing is, when I have something here, I will have to give it a value. Even though it is a null value or zero or something else, I shall still do it. So now if I just do this, still I have a problem. The reason being I don't have that field. So I have to get that field. How to get that? Just a very simple thing. So I put it here. Um, the customer, where is that? Okay, you know what? I will have to change it even in the table compare because I was using the old table, guys. So I have to use the new table. When I use the new table, I have this field. When I have it here, it also reflects on the right hand side. So I don't want it to compare this as part of the table comparison. That is not relevant for me because I don't need to compare that. I don't need to even make it as a primary key column when I do that. It just let it be like that. I want this new column to be built. That's all what I'm doing. So because we changed this, where is the start date and end date? Hmm. Okay, I don't have a start date and end date in this particular table which I created. So, however, I'm going to remove the history preserving because that is not the important thing I need here. Because I have to create the table in the same way, guys. Actually, I did not create it. I need to have the target table with the same name. I think I have taken a wrong table or I have taken a wrong version of the table. That's fine. Still, I can show you. So in the table comparison, it is throwing an error. Her indicator does not exist. So yeah, this is I'm trying to replicate from the earlier job and so all problems. So now let me run it just to show you that we can generate indexing or what is it, a surrogate ID using data services, and it's one of the transforms. That's what we are trying to achieve. To make it more meaningful, I will show you a relevant example than what we are trying to do. But let us go and see if the record got created or not. That is the important thing, right? So it created surrogate ID 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 continuously like that, right? So it has 15 records. Now it has an index column. Now if you make use of the same table and you have start date and end date, put the history preserving, it does it in a proper way. If you want me to do it, I can do it, or if you wanted to do it yourself, you can also try. All you'll have to do it is, in this you're going to put a start date, end date, current indicator as we did it earlier, and then run it. Or else there is also one other quick and dirty way that I can do it, but why don't you do as the exercise? But if you want me to show, I can spend more time and then show it. It's up to you. You tell me guys. All I'll have to do is take this as an example, not this as an example. You tell me if you want me to show, I'm going to do it right away immediately. Or you want to practice at home and come back, I'm fine. Okay, okay, no worries. Okay, so I'm trying to implement uh, key generation, and it is more relevant example when we have a history preserving here. So let me take the same customer dim type 2 underscore sir ID. I'm renaming a new, I'm actually creating a new table, but using the same script which I have here. So I'm going to, I mean, if I would have used the same table, it should have made my life easier, but I jumped the gun and I used a wrong table there. So I'm going to use this and say sir ID, and I'm calling this as an integer. Okay, that's all it is. If I execute this, then we are in good shape. I will use this. Is default? No, there's something wrong. Sir ID default now. Create table. Type to sir ID already exists. Uh, okay. Did I create it with the same name already? Um, okay, here it is. And I wanted to see if I ran it twice, then that should have been the problem. Okay, it got created fresh, but I tried to run it couple of times, and so let us go back to our original job. I will redo it. I will not use this one. Instead, I'm going to start from scratch, guys, because this would have confused you a little bit here. So instead of this job, I'm going to delete it. I'm going to get my original data flow, which I have built for my type 2. I will use this and replicate now, because I will use that as an example so that you guys understand. Rename type 2 sir ID. Okay, so which means it is the same job, but we are trying to introduce a surrogate ID here. That's all we are trying to do. So for that, what I wanted to do is I wanted to get the key generation transform here. For the key generation transform, as I need a column that is not in the target, I'm going to remove this table and get the new table, guys. Customer dim type 2. I have to go and get the new table which I created, which is customer type dim 2 sir ID. Look at it closely, guys. Now I'm trying to go in a very slow pace so that you understand this and how to build this also. Where is my table? Yeah, this is the one which is my target. So I have a new column here. So I have to create in the same column, and I will show you one other excellent option. You don't need to struggle to get the name, everything. Go here, copy, and you can come and paste here. That is also permitted. Data services has developed all this after it is taken over by um, SAP. Insert above. So here, though it is pointing to different place, so I'm going to make it as null, because at first point we will not have any value, right? Customer surrogate ID is null. So now I have the customer key generation, in which I will have to use the target table. That is my same table which I have built now. I make it and say customer surrogate ID and increment by 1. That's all it is. We are not going to change anything else, except that I have to go and change the table here, because here we were using a different table. This is from my old mapping. So I have to take the surrogate ID table so that I have the surrogate ID field there. Rest of them stays as it is, and generated key column. Now because I have surrogate ID, it makes more sense that I take the generated key column. Earlier there was no generated key column, so I did not take it, but now I am taking it. And now that's it. I can run this job as it is. The one other change I will have to make it is in the history preserving. Do I need to? No, everything is there. So if I validate, there are no issues. All I try to do is I created a new target table that has a surrogate ID column. To insert that surrogate ID, I used the key generation. That's all I did, guys. No other things I did so far. So I'm going to run this job and see if it gets inserted, and that too in a debug mode so that you understand it better. If it doesn't throw any errors, I'm happy that I will not waste too much of time. Yes, it did not throw any errors. Now we go here and we can see what has happened. So from the source, let us see how many records I have. 15 records, but the customer surrogate ID is null because this is not a source field. Do you see that? And after it passes into the key generation, we click here. Because we're in the debug mode, it can show you. So the debugger has given 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It is out of the key generation transform which got generated, and it passes the table comparison. Still everything is an insert because into this particular table everything is an insert. So it inserted everything. And in the history preserving, after it passed the history preserving, for the first time there will not be any impact. Still it is an insert. You see there? So it inserted. So finally we have the records here. Everything got inserted. Right? You have the same 15 records for the first time. Everything, the current indicator is 0. Now I do the magic. I have to go update something in the source, and you'll see that everything gets updated now. And also it will create a new record with a new surrogate ID. That is what is the exercise we are trying to perform. If you understand so far, I'm going to actually make a change in the source, quickly run the same job again so that it makes more relevancy for you. Did you understand what I tried to do so far? Okay. There are 15 records now in our target. Let us do the same kind of update as we were doing earlier. And when I do the update, now I wanted a new record to have a new surrogate ID and maintain it properly. So we will see that I go back to the ODS and I go back to my original table ODS and say edit table data, and here I wanted to do a small update to one of them, which could be this dem3. It is already there, so I'm making it a relevant name, customer classification, and the name here I wanted to give as, just for the difference, I'm giving it as Hilal, and his address I'm putting something as New Jersey, and also the city is New Jersey or Jersey City, right? We are JRSYCITY. So that is the update I am making. Now dem2, dem3 earlier was like XXXXYYY, something like that. Now I have updated it. Now if I run, you will see what will happen. So you see which record is going to change. This particular record, guys. Currently it has a customer surrogate ID as 3 and customer ID as dem3. Customer classification is CA, name is just X, address is Y, and city is Z. So now if I run the same job, see what is going to happen. Let me also execute in the debug mode so that you understand everything properly. Now it is a full kind of a data warehouse, guys. What we have built is a type 2 dimension. It has a surrogate ID. It has a history preserving. It has a table compare, every relevant thing into it. This is the proper dimensional data flow. This is how a dimension should be built. Ultimately, we have did that. So if you see, still it extracted 15 records, but after it passed the key generation, it has given new numbers for all these records, you see. But though it has extracted all the records, after it, it makes more relevancy if we put the key generation after the table compare, but I have put it before the table compare. No worries, we can also do that way. But here you have one update, that is the customer surrogate ID 3. It has an update. That is a mistake I did. This key generation has to happen after that. So let me quickly do it. But now it got it as an update here and also as an insert. But it did not update the surrogate ID. That is my problem. Hold on 1 second. Let me. I wanted to fail this job actually. So let me do this. I wanted to fail this. It should not insert. I will not have that option. But I will have to redo it, guys. I was overexcited and I did not make the key generation at the right place. This has to actually happen after the table compare, because the table compare will give the new data and we'll have to update that only for that. So this has to come like this. I'm sorry about that. Now I have to make one more change. I will quickly do it, but this is how it should have been. That was my mistake. I have put it before. If I put it before, the table comparison will not get that record as updated and the key generation will not generate a key for that. So I will have to put it at the right place. So let me try to make one more update. Now the New Jersey city, I'm just updating his zip code. Instead of 9999, I'm putting the zip code 75024. I don't know if that is a Jersey city zip code. Pardon me for that, but I'm putting it. So now the update has to happen for this particular record. If I rerun it, the update is only the zip code. Let me see if it will happen properly and if it generates a right surrogate ID. Because now it is actually, if you go and look at the target, there is a small mistake. It could have given the same same number for it. You see here, this is wrong. It should not have given a 3 3. It should have given a 3 and a 17. But because I have put it at the wrong place, it gave like that. So I'm going to delete this particular record, and then when we run the show, it has to come up with a proper record, guys. 1 second. Um, Let me go back to the overview and the delete. It is going to mess up. It is going to mess up because you wanted to do an update and also do a delete at the same time, which database will not allow, because you are going to delete the same record and update the same record. Database will not allow you to do that. Yeah, that's surely a limitation in the database. It will not allow you. So I go here and type to surrogate ID. Where is that? Yeah, here. Edit table data. Why did not it give me? Oh, it is not getting me this. Oh, no primary key defined. So it is not allowing me because I will have to make the first record as a primary key. But no matter, I will not delete it. That's all. Let it be there. I will insert one more record, then you'll see what will happen. So I'm rerunning the same job, guys, in the debug mode. Why am I running in the debug mode is so that it is visible what has happened inside the job. So let us see if it completes successfully. We mostly will end the session by showing few important things. So bear with me a couple of minutes. We will be done. So the extract has extracted all the 15 records in the source. The table comparison has given only one update, which is a current surrogate ID 3. The key generation, it did not generate any key. It is still showing as update. You see there, it's a mistake. So it is still generating. I mean, it did not do anything. That's what is the problem. Actually, if it comes as an update, still it has to give a new value for that. So, but it did not give, and I'm wondering why it did not give. So customer ID, I know why it did not give. I have to make that as an primary key, only then it can do that. When we try to show everything practical, this all will happen. If I make it as a recorded show, you will not understand. That is my problem. So I have to make that as a primary key. That's what is a mistake there. So let me stop this job. I will not show you further. So let me stop this job. Next time what I'll have to do is I will have to make note of each and every step so that I don't miss any step, so that I will not waste time. Because now because I missed that, I have to redo things. So I will have to edit table, not the data. I wanted to alter table. Yeah. So in the alter table, I go to columns, and the current surrogate ID, I will say primary key. Apply. I have to delete the data before I do that because there is already a duplicate in it. Let me do that quickly. Because when there is a duplicate, it will not allow me to build a primary key. So delete from. I will not delete everything. I will delete that particular duplicate record. So where cust underscore sir underscore id is equal to 3. That is the duplicate record. So I'm trying to delete the same. Did it delete? I don't know. Okay. Let me go and see if it really deleted. Yeah, 3 is deleted. So now I don't have the duplicate. Because I don't have the duplicate, now if I make this as primary key, it should accept. Still an error. SQL script has an error. Is there any more duplicates here? I don't see. And let me redo the same thing. But one good thing is you learn all this, whatever I am trying to do. The bad thing is there can be a little confusion. So there is one advantage and one disadvantage. It is still throwing the same error. You're running table is already exist. Okay, I'm trying to run an alter statement. Is it not? I think I did run an alter table only. Then why is it not allowing me? Columns, I'm saying pk, and then I say apply. So alter table not null. So everything looks good for me. Adding a primary key. So let me also keep this copy. If it doesn't allow, next time we'll do it manually. So what it is trying to do is, it says the table customer type 2 already exists, statement create. So I don't know why is it trying to create the table, because I don't want to create the table. All I'm trying to do is add a primary key. So I'm going to run it manually. This is the statement actually. So now it applied. I mean, that is a fault with the tool, or it could be fault with my understanding. So let me not worry about what it is, but I will see the statement one more time. What I will have to do is select the top 100 rows. So I don't have that. I don't have that particular table, and here we are going to see one more important thing, guys. Whenever you change the metadata, you will have to import that. So how to re-import that is right click and say re-import. So that I will show you the difference. I did not re-import. Now if you see, the customer table earlier did not have a primary key. If you see here, there is no primary key. Do you see it? And now after we re-import it, it has to get the primary key. Let me show you. These are very small things, but then will have relevancy. Why it have relevancy is you will get into a company saying that you are an expert. So you should stand by that. So I'm trying to show you all the expert things, and so that you'll not get lost. uh, Somehow it is not getting the primary key here. Re-import. Actually, this should be shown as a primary key. That's what I'm struggling here. But anyhow, that should not be a problem. I just have re-imported, and I have to go and make a small change in my source data so that it works fine. Then I'm in a good shape. If it doesn't work fine, still I'm not going to redo today. We'll do it some other time. But then I wanted to show you how the surrogate ID can be used while we generate a history preserving or a type 2 dimension. That's what I'm trying to show you, and I have messed up a little bit here and there. So in here I'll have to go make a change in the source table, which is the ODS edit table data, and I'm trying to do it for dem1. Instead of training clouds, I say training cloud dot build, and the address is going to be changed 4040. Let the rest of the be the same, guys. Don't worry about that. So I have committed it. Now I wanted to run the job very quickly and see if it works. If it doesn't work, even the way of doing it is that way, I would have missed something somewhere, a small step. It would have happened. So I'm trying to show you quick and dirty, but things won't work in that way sometimes as expected. So now it gave you guys. Finally, you see, the update is having 1, whereas the insert is having 16. That is what I wanted to show you, and finally I achieved it. I'm sorry if there would have been any confusion, but instead of telling you too many more things, uh, go ahead with your questions. If you have some questions, right time to ask, guys. So this is the new record which got. Is that the new record? No. Okay. You see what it did? It is 1 and 1 here, but still, when I stop the debugger, I mean, let me go back and see if it has generated the way I want. After the key generation, it is 1 and 16. So 16 is your record. You see it? It is a new record. It treated as somewhere something is wrong. I am taking a wrong table. That's all it is. And this is the new record which came as an update. When it is trying to update, it is not giving a key for it. And I don't know why is this inserting as a new record. But in general, it should have been, it need to get a new surrogate ID, whichever is 16 or 17, whatever is the next number. But it did not get it. I'm still thinking, why is it not doing as I wanted to? Somewhere something is wrong. Okay, let me stop it here. But though it did not work practically, whatever I tried to do here, but I'll be happy if you got the essence of it, the key generation. The key generation, first of all, worked fine. The only thing it did not work is while doing a type 2 transformation. I wanted to show how we do a type 2 transformation and how we make use of key generation. That's what I tried to show, but I don't know it. There is somewhere some mistake I'm doing, so it did not work. But then you can always use key generation like this. It should have been that I did not do it recently, or while narrating it to you, I should be doing something wrong. But I will fix the issue and then send you the job. But currently except that it is not doing for the key generation for the history preserving. Is there any other questions, guys? Because this one I will take a close look at it before I show you. Beyond that, if there are any other questions, guys, it's 11:52 and I actually wanted to show you other job which is XML as a source. If time permits, first thing I wanted to do is I wanted to show you XML as a source before I end the session today. So any questions on this surrogate ID generation, except that it is not generating it for the example I am trying to give you. Is there any other questions? Because I will try to fix this one. Why is it not generating is my problem. I will fix it. No other questions? Okay. If no other questions, I just go with showing you as XML as a source. That is the one which I have to cover today, so that I can go for data quality tomorrow. I mean, I try to do something for my own exercise here. That is only, I'm wondering why is history preserving not working in the way I wanted it to work. So I'm wondering on that, and I'm making sure that I'm using the key generation at the right point. Yes, it finally worked, guys. Here it is. You see it? I went and updated trainingclouds.biz and its address as 440 Civic Center Drive, San Rafael 3. Its earlier address was this one. You see here? So when last time I did it, it did not work. These two are the earlier ones, whereas the current one is this one. Okay, what the change I made, that is relevant. The key generation is not going to be at the first point before table comparison or before history preservation. It is going to be at the last place. Key generation, I have moved it just before it puts into the target database, so that got the issue resolved. But I'm going, because it succeeded, I wanted to show you one more time what I tried to do. Is it okay? Can I show you the last thing what I tried and how it worked? Okay, I think I have to show you, isn't it? Guys, are you bored? Okay, I'm going to just delete these two records, which is current surrogate ID, and then assume it as it never appeared. So I can also do it this way, right? I go here. Why is it has a yeah. Well, what I wanted to show you is the same thing whatever I did now, just before you showing it you more relevant. I wanted to edit the table data here, but things are not working in favor of me. It is again throwing an error that it doesn't have a primary key, but it already has a primary key. Okay, let me just try to refresh its memory. Sometimes it kills me. Okay, I'm not going to do that. Oh, see, I said I'm doing it the wrong spot. I have to do it for the ODS customer. Yeah, I have to go and edit the table data. Now you see the training clouds which I got updated was dem1. It got successfully created and there is a new record with a surrogate ID 17. The same thing I wanted to do for a different record. Now I will take this mill steel. So I'm going to just change this, instead of WA I wanted to put it as TX, which is Texas. I'm giving a different class code, that's all it is. I say Plano, I will say what is it, Preston Road. Don't worry about the caps and small letters, whatever is happening, guys. It will be an easy one for you to identify even. So I made a change to the source data, and the change I made is for PO01. So let us go and see what is PO01 in our target. PO01 has a surrogate ID of 10, and this is the information. It is Mills Steel, Stockholm City, Phoenix. So I'm going to rerun my job because something has changed in my source, and I'm going to execute. We don't need a debug mode. It is very well understandable that the column is the last column which is changed. Sorry, the address is the one which is changed, and we will see in a bit whether it gets updated and it gets a new surrogate ID or not. That is the most important point that we wanted to see, right? So we'll go and see it. So I made a change for this one, and let me see. Here it is. So the other way, because they are in a different place, I wanted to put customer ID, a filter to show you just what has happened. It is PO01. Oh, now it is case sensitive, so I need to be careful. PO01, because it's data. Metadata is not case sensitive. This is what has happened, guys. Alright, makes sense. You see, it got updated properly. I mean, it has a current surrogate ID as 10, as 18, and the previous surrogate ID was 10. The address is got updated, right? So that's the end of the story for today. So before we close the session, do you have any questions? Because it is just one more minute on my pocket. I wanted to show you, unless they come and knock my door, I'm fine. I'm going to show you how to make XML as a source and build a quick and dirty job. If you don't have any questions, I will be in my mode of building one more job, guys, because as per my schedule, I have to show that to you. Till someone knocks at my door and asks me to leave, I will be doing that. And if I abruptly end the session, even it is just because someone asked me to leave from here because they have the booking of this conference room. So I will do a batch job, new batch job, JB underscore EDW, and I'm making it as 006 underscore XML underscore SOURCE. Why am I trying to show you immediately the XML as a source is because this is the time where you have, I mean, it is a weekend, right? You can go practice and then come back. So I wanted to show you, till now we saw flat file as a source, database as a source, SQL query as a source. Now I wanted to show you that we can make an XML as a source. For XML as a source, you need to understand this is not the XML schema. XML schema is different, guys. XML schema is kind of a database schema again, which is hierarchical, which we'll not look at it now. The XML files generally are defined under DTDS. This is the first time even I am doing it because never in my project I got an opportunity to work on XML as a source. So I'm naming this data flow as 0007 underscore 01 XML as source. So how the XML is different from remaining things is it is not as simple as a flat file. For XML you will have to do few other things. So let me delete whatever I have here. So for an XML to work, you will have to define a DDDS file. So all I am doing is clicking as new, and I have to give a relevant name for it. Currently, we are going to extract the material master data that is from SAP as a source. How to generate that SAP source file, I mean XML file, is a different job. We will do that later. But before we do how we extracted it, we will transform and load it. So extracting into an XML file and you wanted to load the XML into target, you will have to do it like this, and it is also available in the tutorial. So I wanted to cover that so that when you look at the tutorial, you don't have any surprises. So the DTD stands for data type definition, and the definition name I have to give, which is I'm saying MTRL dim, something like that. And the file name there is a sample file given in the tutorial which is a material.dtd. Sorry, I'm always I have a problem with that file name. So root element name. What is the root element name is kind of the primary key, which is a material master list is the root element name, and I just say okay. Now I define the material dimension. Material DTD file. So I take this as my source. You will see how is it different. So I'm saying make this as a source. And now in general way I use my query transform. And I connect this here. And the target for it is always, we have the target table. I have already imported it and kept it there. So in the overview section, if you go to EDW, I have the material dimension as a target. This is the MTRL underscore dim. So we are going to get the same table here. So I right click and say import by name MTRL underscore dim. So I got the table. Here it is. I put it in the make target. So if you see now, according to us, is the job not completed? You have everything here. Can I map this? Will it work? See, it is not working. In a text file it used to work, right? After you do this, it used to work. But here it is not working. See, I'm trying to drag from left hand side and map it onto the right hand side. It is not working. Why will it not work? You see something here which has hazmat indicator, text nt underscore 1. If someone who is very good at an XML, writing an XML file, would be able to explain you what these are all fields. But to me, what I can say in my languages, this is the grammar. XML is extended markup language. So it is a language like any other programming language like C, C++, or if you call Java or any other programming language. It is also a programming language. That is the reason it has more fields under it. This is only a file format I defined. Now I will have to point it to a particular file as we did in the flat file definition. There, while defining the file, I can point it. In the same way, while defining this XML file, I will have to get into it and point it into a source file. Only then we can get the data. The XML file is here. I go to the same root directory. I have mtrl. This is an XML file. So I take that. And here, if I want to say enable validation, that is fine. And include file name columns, I'm not going to do that for now. But I come back. Even now, when I associated data with it, I cannot map this directly. It is not going to accept me to map this. So let me quickly do this. I have to actually define few things because these are the target fields. It is not going to directly map source to target. So I have to cut this. I have removed that. Now let me copy the entire schema from left hand side to right hand side. It accepts. All the schema is here. But if you see, the schema is grayed out. You see the material ID, material type, sector, material group, everything is grayed out. Why is it grayed out? Is an XML directly cannot go and talk to the table. They are not going to match or map each other because XML, if you open an XML file, if we want, we can open and see an XML file. The definition is going to be a very different. Let us go and open an XML file and see how it looks, because then it gets the relevancy into your mind that XML file is not as same as our text file. So I wanted to show you that before I end today, because we have to cover more things, but we have consumed a lot of time understanding these transforms. Half of them could be my mistake, that some of them while I do it, it doesn't work, and some of them I am repeating it just that you understand. So I opened an XML file. See the XML file. It has an open tag, closing tag. It has some grammar that it has been defined with. So that is how an XML file definition looks like. Whereas if you go back and open, okay, here this is the XML file format. Whereas I don't know if it opens in any other. Let me try to open it in Notepad. I don't know if it opens. Yes, it opened. This is some data, or the DTD file itself. So don't worry about these two things, but all you'll have to understand is this is the XML document which has the data, and this is the file format which we define. Those are the two things. And now I go back in my data services, and here if I validate, it is wrong because I haven't mapped anything. So here is the important thing which you will have to learn. I have to right click on this and say make current. Then everything becomes active. You see here, now everything is active. Though they are active, they are the source fields. They have a varchar of 1024 as default, and the mapping is still pointing to the source, but it does not make it to the target. After I make it current, I will have to delete these columns. So I'm going to delete them. I can also delete this hazmat indicator, which I don't require. So I delete this. So I leave it these ones here. The previous ones which I cut, which are my target columns, I'm going to paste them here. Oh, I placed it at a wrong spot. So let me redo that, because I have to put them under the material master, but I made a small mistake there. How do I do that now? Okay, I think I can delete these guys. Yeah. So I have to put it here. So now, oh, again it went to a wrong spot. Anyhow, it doesn't matter if you go to a wrong spot even, because finally it will make it up. So, but I wanted to actually put them at the right place. So okay, anyhow they are getting only at the bottom. That is fine. Now we can map them, because this is how you'll have to make a schema or a mapping, by making it current, and it implicitly converts everything and generates you. It is a little bit different than a normal thing we do for a text file. So you have to understand that yourself. Only then it makes sense for you. So we don't need all this long text and everything. So I can delete these away, because we don't have them in target, right? So okay, to delete even you'll have to make that as make current. So then only, oh, you know why these were not getting populated under that? Because the schema was not current. Now I know where to put it. When I say make it current, it just took away the powers that I couldn't delete here. That's fine. Now here I can delete these guys and get the description. The description is, for example, the short text, we can make it as a description, but you see it is not accepting. Okay, when I say make current, it will accept, I know. So this is a little bit different thing. It is still not accepting me. Okay, I have to redo few steps, guys, because while narrating I think I pitched up a wrong point. Okay, let me redo it. It is easy for me instead of fixing that now. So I will do it quick and dirty, but watch me closely, because while narrating we do some small mistake, and that actually creates more problems for me, that I'm redoing the things again and again. So I cut this, I get my material master, I put it here, and from this I right click and say make current, and delete all these fields because I don't need them, and then paste these fields. It did not accept me to paste it at the right place. That's where I was facing the same trouble, right? So I don't want this here. So I can also delete these fields, but I have to make them current. So that making this current and all is the important things which you have to understand. It is still inserting at a wrong place. Somewhere I'm doing a mistake. Because as I told you guys, I never even used this XML formats in my any of the projects, because we never got an XML file as such. So I will have to make this current and now paste them. Hmm. I mean, this is there in the tutorial, guys, so it should not be anything complex, but I wanted to show you myself so that okay, now I got it at the right place. No, so I don't want this all fields, even this one, so I can delete them. And now the description, everything I can actually map each other. So I can map it here. Material ID is mapped. Material type is mapped. Material group is mapped. Everything is mapped now. So now if you go and say, oh, it still is failing. The reason could be cannot find a matching name for source column material master. The flat loader M cannot be connected to NRDM. So it still does not find a relevant name for the material master here, right? So uh, let me think about it. What the step I missed? So here I think I have to make something else. Yeah, make current, and okay, next with subschema. There is some other step I need to do. Okay, yes, now it should accept, I think. Yes. So this is the way you built it from XML. Let me quickly recap what I am trying to do. To build an SQL, to have an XML as a source file for you to load into data warehouse, what we'll have to do, you will have to actually define a DTDS file. That is the material dimension data file. And in order to have that is the definition, guys. That is the definition of the file. So you will not have anything under it. Whereas you go here and say pick up the file, XML file. You have one more file which is put in here, which is the XML, which is the mtrl XML. This is the actual file, and you mapped it. After you mapped it, you do the query transform. You cannot directly map from source to target because the source is XML schema and the target is a relational database, which is a table. For that, what you'll have to do is you'll have to delete all the columns whatever was existing in this square in this mapping, and you have to map from source, and the first thing you'll have to do is make it current, only then you can operate, and do the same way as I did or as it is being told in the tutorial file. Finally, when you want it to run the job, you'll have to say unnest with sub schemas, which means your XML file is actually a nested schema or a nested table kind of thing. It has the inbuilt relationships, it has the opening tag, closing tag, it has the references between one another. So we are unnesting all of that, and finally we achieved at a point where we were able to map them to the target. But I haven't run the job, so let me run the job and see if it works. If it doesn't work, we'll catch up back sometime tomorrow, guys, because it's already 12:15 and I don't know. You should have some other plans because it's a Saturday. But if I'm lucky, yes, the data got loaded. So I'm lucky, I think. There is no data in the target. That is awesome. You know what? I have ran a different job. This is my job I have to run. So I have run number 5 and it completed successfully. So I was wondering how could it complete that fast. So somehow, yes, I have some records, and I successfully finished loading my material dimension table. Here is the data. So tomorrow it is a very big exercise for you guys. Whatever you have learned so far, except for today, whatever you have learned, you will not have the videos online immediately, but sometime I will try to put it as soon as possible, tonight sometime. But what I wanted to let you know is I have shown you almost all the important transforms except the lookup functionality, which I will take up tomorrow. And tomorrow we are going to go to a new set of transforms which are data quality transforms, and I will have a presentation about the data quality, which is very important for you to understand what this data quality and why you require it. So while I do that tomorrow, what you will have to do a favor for me. Please go through the transformations whatever we have learned so far. Try to also use the tutorial, try to use the technical manual whichever is sitting here, so that you know how to make use of each transform. I tried to show almost all important transforms and how to use them, giving some examples. But you have to practice it to properly get them. So whenever my time permits, for the future purpose, what I'm going to do is I will create this myself without any mistakes. Here I was continuously making some mistakes and then fixing it again and again, because I'm doing two things, right? I'm engaging you and I'm also trying to do the same thing parallelly. So mistake can happen sometimes that I don't follow the procedure properly. It is because of a bad memory, or because I am the Gajni who would have had the short-term memory that I could not exactly get to the point. But before we end the call, are there any questions for today, guys? We'll spend at least next 10 minutes on your questions because I don't see anyone knocking my door. So go ahead with your questions. Wow. Are we on call or no one on call?